Welcome to the food truck overview webinar. In this webinar, we'll deal with what's necessary. We'll discuss what's necessary to start a food truck in the United States. Difference. So in this webinar, we'll deal with the legal aspect of starting a food truck. We'll deal with the operational aspect of starting a food truck, and we'll deal with the technical aspect of starting and launching a food truck. My name is Tremaine Davis, and for the last 10 years, I have been advising and consulting with companies about strategy. I'm a strategic advisor. I have an MBA in project management and a bachelor's degree in marketing. I'm also an active investor in the food industry, and I prefer to invest in import-export, coffee, fish farming, things of such. And over the past few years, I have been consulting and advising restaurants, food trucks, and other hospitality-focused industries around strategy. And for my many experiences with food trucks and dealing with the legal bodies around the food truck startup culture, I am combining summaries, taking a snippet of what's in my mind, and putting it out there for you guys in a webinar. Also, it makes my job a bit easier as the majority of my consulting, initially the first consulting session is about basically how to start it, what should I do, the guide. And hopefully this can not only save you guys money in the future if you decide to consult with me, because you'll know all this information beforehand, but also it'll probably give you a good idea to what you need to be doing to start your food truck. Okay, that's that. Let's get started. Let's take legal. When I mean legal, I am referring to the legal aspects, governmental regulations that are required in order for you to successfully open and operate a food truck. What I am going to do today is go over the basic requirements that I see. One common requirement is your business registration. Business registration is a state level. You can have sole proprietorship, a LLC, or incorporation. The basic difference, now there are many differences, but the basic differences are sole proprietor, zero protection, you are your business. Something happens financially with your business, it affects your personal assets. Limited liability, hence the name limited liability. You can probably deduce what limited liability is. You are limited in your liability, but you can still become liable. LLCs are very common with partnerships. Very common if you have multiple owners of a restaurant. Incorporation is the most expensive aspect of business registration, but it also provides the most protection. Consider this. You are opening a company and becoming an employee of that company. Therefore, anything that company does not affect you. Imagine if Walmart yogurt was spoiled and made a bunch of their patrons sick. Is it fair to sue the cashier? No, it isn't. This is the type of protection that you get when you incorporate a company. Because the food industry is extremely risky, I always suggest restaurants start a corporation. Now, there are many different requirements for incorporations. A lot of people don't like corporations because there's a lot of paperwork, but a few days of paperwork annually it's good, and it's affordable enough, and incorporating is affordable enough that it's the best insurance plans that you can have. Along with business registrations, you're going to need your EIN number, which is your employee identification number. This is essentially a federal tax ID. All right. And you will need your local sales tax permits and things such on your state level. It's one aspect of legal. Okay, counties require you to either have a commercial kitchen or commissary. They're both the same essentially. A commercial kitchen is a commercial kitchen used to produce commercial goods. A commissary is typically a commercial kitchen that's available for rent. Now, some commercial kitchens will allow you to utilize their kitchen, allow a food truck to utilize their kitchen when it's their off hours or if they're closed at night. And a lot of food trucks find success with utilizing a existing restaurant's kitchen. If you have a friend that owns a restaurant, he's closed at 9 o'clock at night. Hey buddy, can I use your kitchen for my food truck? Here, sign this form. I'll take this to the health department and they'll give you the thumbs up. As long as that kitchen's up to code, then you should be fine. Commissary is an actual kitchen that's built out specifically for food trucks, caterers, bakers, and things of and people of such, or businesses of such, with the sole purpose of renting it out. Main difference. Now, many counties have laws that make it mandatory that food trucks use commercial kitchens, because there's a lot of hazards in food preparation. The health department want the food truck owner to be as safe as possible, and therefore prepare all their food in either a commercial kitchen or commissary. Now, if your county require this is, and most counties do, you can save a lot of money on building out a food truck, meaning that if you're forced to prepare food in a commissary, there's no use of buying all the equipment that you may need to prepare food on a truck. Okay, all right. Now, that is a commissary. Another legal aspect that you're gonna run into, and probably the most stressful one, are the legal permits. I'm gonna run through the most common permits seen across the United States. Again, these names may change, but a lot of them are extremely similar. And during the full course, I'll go through the process of obtaining the permits. And this overview, we're gonna just go through what they are and their names. So most cities, counties, states require you to have a mobile food vendor's permit. Some cities, this mobile food vendor's permit is extremely rare. New York only issue a certain amount per year, and there's a long waiting list. Because of the limited availability of mobile food vendor's permits in some cities, a lot of food trucks are operating illegal without that permit. Signage permit is another one. Basically, if you live in a district with strict rules like Soho District or Hollywood, they want to ensure that your business signage represents their community. So especially in historical districts, some areas may say you can only use wooden signs, or you only can use a sign of this style that fits in with the overall feel of the community. A zoning permit. A zoning permit is a permit that allows your truck to be parked, your truck or trailer to be parked in a certain area or in a certain zone. And these zoning permits are, depending on your municipality, some will allow you to park your truck in one area, or some areas may say, hey, these are the 5 zones you can park in. Fortunately, a lot of times you get to choose these zones. One of the overriding rules that I have noticed is that the zoning department will only allow you to park in areas that is a certain amount of feet away from a food establishment, meaning that you cannot park your food truck right in front of McDonald's. Something really to consider. This is a very, very big, because your city can say, some cities will say you only have the right to park in one area and you're only able to park there. And some cities have laws where you only can park on private property, you cannot park on public streets. If they say you can only park on private property, you know you're gonna need, and you only can park in one area, that means you have to find one place, private parking, and there's no real need for a truck. It could be a trailer, it could be something, much more simpler than building out an expensive food truck. Vehicle license, you understand that, if you shouldn't be opening a food truck if you don't have the correct, not only driver's license, but your truck needs to be registered with the correct licenses and registration. Seller's permit. Anybody who sells anything in the United States typically requires a seller's permit. Government wants to collect their taxes. They want to know who's out there selling things that they can tax. The only permit that you will actually have to attend training for is called a food handler's permit. This permit certifies that you, the food truck owner or the food truck manager, have taken the appropriate courses that provided you with the correct knowledge about food handling. And this is really, really important because with food, there's a plan called the Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point Plan. And this plan looks at your food handling process from storage to serving and identifies specific points that become hazardous and bacteria can grow, or things can happen to the food that is unsanitary. And with your food handler's permit, you'll understand what this actually is. Then there's the health department permit. The health department permit says basically your hazard analysis, a critical control point plan is up to par. They'll basically, many times they'll say you're high risk, low risk, or medium risk. And in some states, they will look at your plan, and then your registration fee, your health certificate, will actually depend on how safe your plan is. Based upon the risk and how well you manage things, you can have a low fee. If you're high risk or you're dealing with high risk food like raw fish, then you'll pay a higher fee. Also, the health department will inspect your truck and ensure that you are your truck is built healthy. It has clean counters, non-porous things, that there is no food hazards. And some departments actually have health departments that deal with the gas and the fire extinguishers and things of such. But a lot of times the fire department comes out and inspect your truck for fire hazards. And sometimes a fire extinguisher will work for your fire suppression system. Other times when you have a certain amount of grills, you're going to need something more than a fire extinguisher, and you're going to need an actual fire suppression system. That is the overview of the typical legal requirements of opening a food truck. Operational aspects. There's so many things that you need to know in order to operate a food truck successfully. And this overview is just basically going to be an overview of what you need to consider when you're operating a food truck. This is more dealing with the getting food out and the cost it would take to get food out. We talked about the commissary. We talked about the commissary earlier, and that's a big thing. Understanding the commissary laws, understanding the legal laws, understanding what type of truck you must have in order to prepare your food. Can your food be prepared on a cart or a trailer, or do you actually need a truck? The truck that you're going to buy, how big should the freshwater system be? And if you're going to get a freshwater system, you do understand that your wastewater system needs to be 50% larger. Most counties require your wastewater system to be 15% larger. Exhaust hoods. Will your truck be okay without exhaust hoods? Are you going to be only making smoothies, or are you going to be cooking on grills? And the legal requirements, a lot of times you will say, hey, you need an exhaust hood. Hand washing stations. All trucks need hand washing stations, a place dedicated to clean your hands. How are you going to generate electricity? Are you going to do a generator? Are you going to do a propane generator? How is that going to happen? Fire suppression system, we dealt with that a little bit earlier. Propane system, what are you going to do to power your grills? Is it going to be natural gas? It's going to be propane, it's going to be liquid gas, and these other things. These are some of the things that you need to consider when you're talking about operating a food truck. Also, you need to consider your staff needs. Your staff needs. Is it just going to be you serving 6 hours a day? Who's going to prep the other 5 hours at night? Who's going to deal with the lunch hour rushes? Who's going to deal with the ordering? If you're cooking, who's going to order? Are you your menu? Is your food menu filled with items that you can make really, really fast? Or will it take you 10 minutes of cooking time to cook one meal? You won't be able to get that many meals out. A food truck should have really good, really simple foods that can be put together in a matter of minutes. And those are some of the things that you need to consider when you are talking about the operational aspects of your food truck. Finally, we are going to discuss the financial obligations that a new food truck owner should consider. So after considering the legal requirements, you know what your truck or trailer needs legally. What you need to do is combine the cost of making your truck legal with the cost of being able to prepare the food that you would like to serve. These are very, very important factors. And if you don't consider these factors, you can severely under budget, or on the opposite end, you can waste a lot of money. Then building out this truck, first focus on the legal. What do you need legally? Remember I told you, electricity, hot water, the wastewater system, fire suppression, gas, things. First focus on that. Figure that out. What would that cost you with the system that you have in mind? Then on top of that, you put in what you need. Now, a hot water system, if you go to a RV professional who can install a hot water system, or RV repair shop, you can easily buy one and install one yourself easily. It's not really technical. It's a few pumps. It's passive. It's not connected to the grid. Electrical, you need to hire a professional to do the electrical work. My advice is to look at your unions or your apprentice programs in town. Hire it's basic electrical work. Hire one of the apprentice to install it. Get a master electrician to sign off on it. Same thing with your plumbing work. Hire an apprentice to install it, set everything up. Get a master plumber to sign off on it. That's the simplest ways. If you project manage the build out of your truck yourself, you can save a significant amount of money. Food trucks was initially started because someone had a truck and they had restaurant experience and they built it and they made a truck that works for them. Don't be afraid to dive in and at least try to build a truck. You have to buy the truck regardless, even if you send it to a builder. Go in. You want to know exactly what they're going to be doing to your truck. So you need to learn about this stuff regardless. And in my full course, I will be discussing the entire layout of a truck and what you will need in order to be legal. Also, when you buy a truck that was built out for something else, you're buying someone else's ideal food truck, not yours. You may not need all those extra grills. Once you figure this out, what you want, you combine that cost, your startup cost, your menu with the legal requirements, and you figure out your startup costs, what it takes to get you open. Okay? Then you take your residual costs and you pull that residual cost, your monthly costs, gas, wages, insurance, internet, commissary costs, fuel for the truck, any parking permits, any agreements you have with private landowners, and etc. And you extrapolate this out for 6 to 12 months and use this as your operating expense. Okay, so now we're done with the basic overview of what it takes to start a food truck. I hope some of the information that I provided you will be extremely useful for you in the coming weeks as you plan your enterprise. Food truck industry is extremely exciting. It's always developing. New things are going to come out, new opportunities are going to come out, and it's people like you that take advantage of these opportunities and help the industry grow. So let's talk about the full course now. The difference is the full course will be a few hours long. It will be posted soon. I will send, if you registered for this webinar, I will send you guys a link when the full course is posted. There will be a small cost associated with the full course. And the full course will actually include one-on-one time with me to discuss your food truck in depth. Now, That said, definitely go into the legal aspects of business registration to the point where you should be able to understand every aspect of incorporation, sole proprietor, and LLC. And at least I'll try to give you enough information to help you make that decision and costs associated with it. One of the biggest benefits of the food truck, of the full course, will be that a lot of times you'll get the actual cost associated with permits based on certain states. You understand, I'll go into the process of actually getting the permit. We had an overview of what the seller permit is or what the mobile vending unit permit is, but I'll let you know in a full course exactly what you need to do to obtain the permits, what prerequisites and requirements that they have in order to obtain that permit, or the seller's permit, or the signage permit, the zoning permit. All of the permits that I've encountered over my career, I will let you know what I've had to do, what my clients had to do in order to figure out what exactly was needed for that permit. That's to get that permit. Also, when you're talking about the build out of a truck, you'll be able to get pricing on what a few food truck vendors require, a few truck builders want in order to take a base step truck and convert it into a typical lunch truck and trailer and mobile cart and that process. Also, you'll get a bit more information on how much money you'll save if you build it and how to project manage that truck that you want to build, how to hire the contractors, how to hire the plumbing guy, where to go to for gas installation, how to hire a construction manager or someone who's handy to install the shelving, to install the equipment, to install the walls and things of such. And then financial, we'll go definitely more into financials on the actual startup costs. We're going to your ongoing costs. We're going to the cost of insurance, where to get insurance, what food trucks insurance look like, what you can expect from it, employee registration, healthcare for food trucks, hours, commissary costs, and just go down the line through the most typical startup costs and go into those details to ensure that when you decide to pull the trigger on opening a food truck, I have personally provided you with as much knowledge as necessary in order to get you off on a great start. And then finally, we will definitely deal with the marketability factors of food trucks, and that's going to be a huge benefit. Understanding, is your menu in demand? Will people want to eat your food over and over and over? Is your food unique enough? Can your food be served quick enough? Can your food generate a buzz? And the social media aspects of the marketability factors, that's definitely very, very important. Again, that course is in the making, should be ready in a few weeks. As soon as the course go live, I'll send you guys an email and let you know exactly when it's going to be live. Until then, thanks for this course. If you want a few minutes with me, go to my website, termaindavis.com. That's TermaineDavis.com. Click on the Get Started link, schedule an appointment with me, and I'll give you a few minutes of the time to get an understanding of your business and try to provide as much information to you, answer a question or two that you may feel that I did not cover in this webinar. Okay, until next time, blessings.